The Niqabi Diary Season 1 illustrated book is now available in paperback. Own your copy now by clicking the link in the description box. Assalamu alaikum. You're listening to the Niqabi Diary series by The Pen, the sound of sisters raising their voices with the written word. I'm your host Samar, and thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. Alhamdulillah, I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair for joining us today for By the Pen. Sister, could you tell us what your name is, inshallah, and then tell us a little bit about the book that you've written?
Jazakallah khair. Firstly, Jazakallah khair for inviting me. It's truly, I'm really happy that I'm here. Alhamdulillah, barakallahu feekum. So I'm Fatima Zahra, but I go by Afraz Muhammed in the online world. I'm an author, I'm a book reviewer, I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I'm a Qur'an Life Coach at Redefined Muslimah Coaching. That is a business that I had started quite recently, maybe 2 years. I'm also an Indian, originally from India, and I'm settled here in the Emirates with my 3 kids, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So tell us about this book that you've written.
Here with you, a realistic Islamic fiction. Why I call it a realistic Islamic fiction is because it's a fiction that has Islamic principles in it, and it's very real. The characters are real. What the characters go through in their life, the drama, if you could call it, it's all very real because it happens in married usually. So the book is it deals with the relationship between a mother-in-law, a daughter-in-law, and the man who is between both of them, basically the son of one and the husband of the other. Right. The book deals with what each of the characters goes through. So it's talking from the first person's point of view, and there are different, each chapter deals with one character.
Right.
So that we get to know the situation according to that character's perspective.
MashaAllah, sounds really interesting. So what inspired you to write such a book?
So the place that I come from, back home in India, and I'm sure this is a global issue actually, was basically the issue of, that what goes between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law is a taboo topic, especially in my place. And what happens between them, the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, is like that they do not get along well. And there are issues that crop up where one blames the other, and the person, the main person, like if it's the mother-in-law, she thinks she's right and her daughter-in-law is wrong. And if it's the daughter-in-law, she thinks she's right and the mother-in-law is wrong. And caught in between all of this is the person, the man who has to take care of his both mother and wife. And sometimes this man, this person, he is stuck. He's literally like sandwiched between them. What inspired me to write is this whole issue that is not talked about, and many in many situations, in many places, everyone thinks that they're right. They don't think of the other person's perspective, that they don't put themselves in the other person's shoes, which then somehow leads to a lot of negativity in life for oneself. So in my place, this is very rampant. This issue is very rampant, that it's the mother-in-laws, they get together and then they bicker about the daughter-in-law. The daughter-in-laws, they get together and then they bicker about the mother-in-law. So, it's very real, but no one's exactly talking about it. No one's taking steps to make it change.
Mm-hmm.
So that really inspired me to write about it.
MashaAllah. So who would you say the book is aimed at in general then? Is it for all of those 3 parties? Or is there someone particular, like specifically?
I would say it's all 3.
Mm-hmm.
But most especially specific because, any book would have a general audience and a specific audience. So generally, it would be all three. Specifically, it could target the daughter-in-law and the mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
So the daughter-in-law would, when she's getting married and she's going to step into this new house, she knows, she expects, what she's going to look forward to, and she prepares herself accordingly, because a mother-in-law would have been once a daughter-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not the case for a daughter-in-law. This is all new to her.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be a good stepping stone for her to read about it and just have some kind of an idea, some kind of a clarity, inshallah. As for the mother-in-law, I guess it depends on how the mother-in-law takes it. But I have heard feedback from my readers that it has helped them in their relationship with daughter-in-laws as well.
MashaAllah. So when was the book released?
In 2019.
MashaAllah. Okay, so just a couple of years ago then. Alhamdulillah. So
Yes.
this book, you published this book. Was it self-publishing that you did, or did you find a publisher?
Yes, it was self-published. So I did it through Amazon.
Okay.
For the global audience, and I have published it separately the regional audience, because from Amazon, ordering from Amazon is going to be very costly for those who are residing in India. So for them, I have separately published in India as well.
Alhamdulillah. What message do you want to get across with this book?
One of the messages that, and this was the first thing that I actually wrote down when I was sitting to draft the book, which is basically to give all the parties involved in a marriage that there is hope in their life, in their married life, that there is positivity, and there is the possibility of having a peaceful relationship with your in-laws. And it's something that we just have to be aware of, something that we keep it in our mind, in our intentions, and we look forward to whatever is happening in our lives with the intention that we're doing everything to please Allah. So we put Allah first, and then inshallah everything will fall in place.
What would you say was your biggest challenge while writing this book?
The biggest challenge that I faced was getting it written. It took me, in actuality, it took me 3 years to get the whole manuscript written. But if I were to put it cumulatively, then I think maximum I would have written it for, say, 5 months. And that was the thing, that to actually sit and write, to get it all out of my head, out of my system, that was the biggest challenge for me.
SubhanAllah. Why would you say that was? Was it because of just life, or you had other things going on?
Yeah, I think mostly it would be because of life, because I'm a mother, a homemaker, and then I was studying at that time as well. So I was doing my master's in Islamic Studies. Okay, so that came with deadlines. So I was accountable to, others. But when it came to drafting a manuscript, I was not accountable to anyone. It was just, it was just me. So so that took a backseat.
Okay, so who would you say was your biggest supporters while writing?
First and after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously, first and foremost is my husband, because I used to work late night, so I would be awake and he would sleep. Sometimes he would take the kids out. Then sometimes we had to prepare dinner and I didn't have anything. So my husband is first and foremost. And then definitely my sister, she was my first beta reader, as well as she is my editor as well. So both my husband and my sister, they were like the biggest rocks.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. So what kind of advice would you give to a sister who wanted to write a book and she's, thinking about doing it, but she doesn't feel like she's an author?
It's just write, because in order to call yourself an author, you need to write. No one can, just say that, oh, I'm an author, and not write a book at all. It's a talent that's hidden inside of you. So once you take it out, once you put pen on paper or your fingers on the keyboard or the phone or whatever it is, you get it typed out, you get it written, you are definitely an author. And no author is entirely perfect, because with every writing, with every draft, with every piece, there is always room for improvement. So when you keep writing, you will definitely improve.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, sister. So would you say that you always wanted to become an author? That's something you've always wanted to do?
I've always written. I was always writing, but I never thought of myself as I would be an author. Like, I would write a lot of stories right from, I think, when I was in 3rd grade. I remember I used to go to my dad was a businessman. He is a businessman. So he had this shop that time where in his office, I would go there, I would pick up his notepad and pen, and then I'd just like start scribbling and writing. I never thought that this is what it is. Like, I never got the intensity of it, that I'm actually writing a story. I just thought I was just randomly writing. But even in 10th grade, I remember that as well. I used to write and then I would trash them. And this was on the computer. So I would delete them, mainly because I didn't feel that the write-ups, like I belonged with the write-ups. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, because when I used to write, I used to write whatever I had read. So only what you fill in will come out. So I used to read a lot of mainstream books, which never represented me as a Muslim.
Okay.
And I didn't feel connection there. So I always used to start up. I had gone, I think, to a couple of chapters, and then I would be like, yeah, this is not me. This is not what I want to say, and then I would just delete it. So alhamdulillah, while I was doing my studies in Islamic studies, that's when I came across the author Sister Zakiyah's books, and I was like, oh, so this exists, like the Islamic fiction exists, which I was not aware of. So reading those books, reading a lot of Islamic fiction, Muslim fiction, that's when I felt like, okay, so this is something that is there and I can be an author too. So alhamdulillah, that was the journey.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, that's excellent. Alhamdulillah. So you were inspired through the work of another sister who writes as well.
Yes, exactly.
Mashallah, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So inshallah, you mentioned that your book is available on Amazon worldwide, right?
Yes, exactly. It's on Amazon.
Alhamdulillah. So okay, well, inshallah, we're going to put the link in the description, and then the listeners, inshallah, can be able to get a hold of it. Yeah, inshallah.
Yes, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
Wa iyaki, sister. Thank you so much for giving your time today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time and interviewing me. I had fun. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.